companies like Orashi. Orashi is a company limited. Of course, now we're licensed to generate electricity. We're licensed to transmit as well as distribute.
Worthy of note that in August 2024, the governor of Imo State, Mr. Koko Uzodimma, signed a memorandum of understanding with Orashi Electricity Company Limited to achieve the purpose of supplying power to the 27 local government areas.
Under my light up program for Imo State, all the 27 local government areas will distribute power to them through a joint effort of state and local government, taking advantage of present amendment of the power of Nigeria. At the first phase of what we call Light Up Imo project, Orashi that was licensed as a company in Imo State to go into both generation, transmission and distribution, quickly entered into a memorandum of agreement with the state government and local governments to take power to the various 27 governments in Imo State. And to do that, we had to start first of all by also taking more power to the various zones.
Governor Uzodimma says the signing of the memorandum shows how important the project is to his administration, reiterating his commitment to ensuring uninterrupted electricity.
We will do our best to live up to the responsibilities expected of us in this agreement, both at the state level and the local government. Before now, Imo State has only the 132 kV line coming from Aloji in Aba to Were. All these years, main source of electricity in Imo State, and this line has long been overloaded. It's a double circuit line that also takes power to Ahod and Buyanegua. So there was a need for us to have this line upgraded to a 330 kV line. As I speak to you now, the SSC has also embarked on getting work back on the 330 kV line from Aba to Imo State, which is of course boost in the 330 kV line is a super highway that can have way more power into as against what we have now. We are drawing now a 330 kV line from Aloji power plant to Ebo transmission station here in Owerri, meaning that if there is failure in Ebo, we take power from Aloji. The project that are doing in Owerri here as a power scheme will act as a benchmark of what will happen in the whole state. A 15 kilometer from Ebo transmission station, 15 kilometer that 3 kV line to New Owerri. The New Owerri area will also install a 15 MVA that is 3/11 kV injection substation. As soon as we get through with this project, we'll now be able to immediately connect all government facilities from government house to the secretariat to the House of Assembly, and very major and important load along that area, like Concord, Hotel and other. All of them will be captured. Well, our people here, there is no electricity. By the end of this year, there will be 24 hours power supply in Imo State.
Distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. Martin Luther King Jr. The Imo leadership under distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma was not under any illusion about what an irreplaceable socio-economic currency peace constituted, bearing in mind that no investment, infrastructure, or human capital development can be sustained in an atmosphere of chaos. With unbroken focus and ironclad commitment to a safer and more business-friendly Imo, the state's security architecture expectedly underwent a robust, mission-focused, systemic and logistical overhaul. From land to air to water, potential flashpoints are quickly under constant surveillance and manned by a well-equipped, highly trained force tasked with keeping the peace by all responsible means possible, thanks to active collaboration between the state government and the federal government.
If we came to Imo State, you would wonder whether we have suddenly ascended to the level of a barbaric society.
That is 2021 and 2022. With the help of the governor and the security agencies, that matter has been addressed. You got the point here that government facilities are being encroached upon without regard to any level. Public assets were being stolen and vandalized, and security authorities became handicapped. The governor gave a lot of support to security agencies. He bought so many things like APCs, more than 30 something, and any equipment that can help them to fight insecurity. He did his best to see that Imo State is safe. If we don't do things as a precaution to stopping this disorder and possible anarchy, then we are not government.
Industry is the drive. Enter the Orashi Special Energy Free Trade Zone, Imo's boldest leap into revitalizing its industrial sector, a launchpad for factories, magnets for international investment, a hub of innovation. This is where energy meets enterprise.
Orashi Special Energy Free Trade Zone, a very transformative initiative by Imo State government and its partners, inviting businesses who wish to grow their businesses, particularly in the oil and gas business. For example, those who want to set up methanol plants, fertilizer plant, LNG, refinery, or manufacturing companies to come to Imo State and be at the free trade zone and take advantage of the benefits of situating their businesses in Orashi Special Energy Free Trade Zone.
Orashi Energy Free Trade Zone is the only free trade zone in Nigeria with a hydrocarbon deposit.
Orashi Special Energy Zone, which today is rated the largest free trade zone in Nigeria, on a landmass of about 140,000 hectares of land, is a unique business enclave where gas is used for industrial goods and development. So they are going to attract a lot of investment in gas and innovation.
The idea was conceived under the leadership of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma, whose idea of having this Orashi Special Energy Free Trade Zone fits into his broader vision, that is the broader economic transformation vision for Imo State and for the Southeast. What this does is that it enables the state to create employment, create internally generated revenue. It enables the state become a trade and energy hub for the Southeast.
So I'm speaking with the king of Morocco for a fertilizer plant. Annual Gas 1 has been commissioned. Gas 2 is 80% complete.
Regarding our domestic gas obligation, by the end of this week, we are going to complete our energy needs assessment and we are going to sign the gas sale and purchase agreement with another gas processing plant. The state intends to take about 100 million scoop of gas from them to power our power plant in Elona, which is 278 megawatts. The upcoming fertilizer plant, the methanol plant, the petrochemicals and the LNG in the Orashi Energy Special Zone. We have a company called Watersmith. They are going to take 30 million scoop from there. Watersmith is also doing 75 megawatts of power and they have their own industrial park. We have about 75 companies and dedicated interests that they take up spaces there.
Now we are bringing other industries to come here, in the oil and gas industry, in the agriculture sector, education, food security. Like I just mentioned, Bureau Veritas will be here. They are building one of the biggest laboratories financed by a frozen bank in Africa for testing hydrocarbons.
Because of the abundant natural gas resources in Imo State, you have Axela, who are trying to do CNG. You have Nigerian Gas Marketing Company, they have acquired their land, they will start construction of another station for CNG. You have Amakan, you have Greenville, I have Koshon Energy. Then you have a broker that wants to do condensate refinery in the special energy zone.
Working with NUPRC, we saw that from their records, Imo State has the highest deposit of natural gas in this region.
That means that if Imo were to be a country, Imo should be about the 16th largest gas producing nation in the world, at the same level with countries like Kazakhstan, Canada, or Egypt.
The 40 cubic feet of gas plants and 200 million barrels of condensate production benchmark, earlier inaugurated in 2024 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is set to commence operations in Ansar community of Imo State in July 2025.
We are ready now to start commissioning the plant with gas. So from July this year, Imo State will join one of the biggest states for gas production in the country.
I'm happy that they are about to go into operation.
Imo is a major oil and gas producing state. Imo State today, we have 7 major oil and gas producing companies.
Can we prepare the documentary, please? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please can we take our seats? Let's settle down, please. Let's settle down. Please take your seats, please. Take your seats. For those that are still loitering, please take your seats. Thank you very much. Let's take our seats. Let's settle down. Please take your seats. Our time is already far gone. Can we take our seats, please? Thank you very much. Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since His Excellency the Governor is not here, or maybe he'll join us later, we might not be able to take the national anthem, but we'll all rise to take the third stanza of the national anthem as our prayer, and then we'll kick off. Please, shall we all rise, please? Shall we rise? If you want to recite with me, you can. It's a national prayer. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. And we all say, Amen. Let's take our seats, please. I'd like to welcome all of you to day 2 of this amazing world-class conference. For all of you that are here, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners and royal fathers, members of the Imo State Executive Council, local government chairmen, heads of agencies and parastatals, both federal and state, and all the chief executives of agencies and businesses, both operating in Imo State nationally and internationally, those that are bringing businesses to Imo State. I welcome all of you to day 2 of this amazing conference. Yesterday was day 1, and it was looking like a World Economic Summit in Davos, with the presence of about 3 presidents, 2 prime ministers, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, the President of Nigeria, represented by the Vice President, and a whole lot of international and national business executives. It was that grand. And my own takeaway from what happened yesterday was that this Imo State government was ready to provide power generation. We just saw a documentary on the Rashi Power Project, was ready to provide infrastructural development and renewable energy, so that those who are coming into Imo State will be able to focus on such central portfolios as power and energy, digital transformation, oil and gas, agriculture and agribusiness, education, real estate, healthcare, and hospitality and tourism. Those are the key areas that anybody who is a business person can key into and come and do business. Today is day 2. By the grace of God, we'll be having 2 panel discussions, a few goodwill messages, and if you are blessed to have His Excellency the Governor with us, we'll also have him to talk to us. And then we'll also have 2 side events on solid minerals and MSMEs that will happen immediately after the main conference. My name is Ebere. Let me invite here one of Nigeria's best iconic broadcaster, Mrs. Virginia Abu, to step forward here and continue the conversation. I'm very sure she's going to set the mood for our first panel today. Mrs. Virginia Abu, please. You have the secretary there.
Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely delighted to be here today. I've been introduced by a man I'm extremely delighted to be here. You already have heard from a man I like to call the voice, a broadcaster plenipotentiary, a gentleman who knows his onions and who has constantly and continuously served his nation on different fronts by bringing to the fore that place where many people fear to tread. The microphone is a place where, if you are not careful and you handle it in a manner in which you are not expected to, it can bury you. If you understand how to use the microphone as we have done over the years, you will know that it's a place where you must be contained, but you must be controlled. But the microphone has its own allure, and if it leads you astray, you will find yourself speaking out of turn and out of space and considering yourself the man or woman of the moment. However, the microphone, if you're a broadcaster, is an instrument of discipline, where when you pick it up and handle it, you remember when to stop, when to speak, how to speak, and where to speak. It is the reason for which we remain standing to do the needful every time we're invited to stand on this platform. Over the years, I had said that Imo State is a state that has adopted me. And because it has so adopted me, every time I get a call to come here and I'm able, I squeeze the time to come. Yesterday in my hotel, I said to my colleagues, it's difficult to find a state that cooks such great soups. And I sat down there in my swallow and entered inside Ofen Salah as if the world was coming to an end. This is what it is about. Imo State cannot carry last when it comes to food. And so when I said to my driver, "Oh, they are changing my hotel, where I was the last time, they cooked so well," he said, "Madam, everywhere in Imo cooks soup very well." In Anuna, this is what it is about. We believe that Imo State, like the governor said yesterday, is no longer on the rise. Imo State has risen. It was, for me, a great regret that this documentary we're watching today was not shown yesterday. The depth of the work that has gone in here cannot be explained by driving through Imo State or through Owerri. It can only be described by this documentary that you saw. That documentary tells us that His Excellency, the Governor of Imo State, a very distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma, has spent sleepless nights assuring security, working on electricity, ensuring that the Orashi Power Project is up and running, elaborating with the finest, the best, to ensure that Imo State is well looked after economically, and the dividends will be for the citizens of Imo State. The Economic Summit, the Imo State Economic Summit, is one that brought many people of caliber and caterpillar here yesterday. We all know that bringing those people here, as my children would say, is not beans. To be able to bring the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Mr. Boris Johnson, is not beans. To bring him here means you have to constantly look at our naysayers of Nigeria. And I have friends who live abroad. The first thing they say is they do not understand why I am still there. Excuse me, I'm still here because of the Amala and the Ofen Salah, because you know what? You can't even find it like that when you live in that side. I like the fact that I can eat my own food. I can eat corn in the corner of the roads here. I can call on anybody I like, including the former Deputy Governor of Imo State, my brother and friend, Professor Placid Njoku, and show up in his house without notice. And I will be fed until I'm fed up. And until I say I'm going, nobody can drive me. Is it not so? And so, for me, I'd like to stay in a place of comfort, where the food means something to me, where I can wear ashwebi and turn up at a wedding. Because when the weddings take place in Nigeria, we're now exporting our wedding. There's even a show on international TV about Nigerian weddings. This is where, like Chinua Achebe would say, when you finish eating the pounded yam that is as high as a mold, You look on the other side and you see that your in-law is on the other side. You know, when you finish, you find your friend at that wedding. It is a place where Nigerian women can pull out their swag. Our gillies are not to be toyed with. Our dresses are not to be toyed with. And like I always say, when we walk across airports all over the world, you know that we are the ones because we walk like we own the airport. You know what I mean? When you see a Nigerian at an airport, you don't need anybody to tell you. You just see the way the person they walk up. The way the person approaches the ground crew to say, why is your plane delayed? I paid my money. We are still here. When are we going? Because I want to go home. That is a Nigerian. The ones who without them, the medical system in the United States and the medical system in the United Kingdom will be finished. Our boys and girls are doing great across the world. Our musicians, our children, our Nollywood, all those stars, some of them from Imo State, are doing us well. This is the reason for which we believe in our nation. It is the reason for which you should believe in Imo State. His Excellency the Governor has shown that there is so much that is possible. That indeed Imo State is not rising, it has risen. That indeed we can host the high and mighty in Owerri. That what Boris Johnson said yesterday about the fact that he was told he shouldn't come, that if he comes, there's a security problem. He told them, I'm coming anyway because the governor has assured me that everything is fine. And indeed, everything is fine. From pillar to post, you can go and visit your friends in Owerri. And I was speaking to the DPO of one of the areas in Imo State. And the DPO said to me, it's extremely difficult to find any governor of this state that has invested so much on security. And it's not even from here. He said to me, the governor of Imo State is always checking to find out how we are doing, what we need, and donating the things that will secure us in this state. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with Imo State. Very proud indeed. Not only am I proud to be associated with Imo State, my elder sister, Architect Eukeria Alozie, is married here over 40 years. And therefore, this is my state as well. You know what it is. As an Ogo, this place is my place as well. You cannot drive me. If I come here and I say I want to stay here for 2 months, you can't chase me away. My sister's house is somewhere here. And if the hotels are finished, and I see that every day there's a new hotel in Imo State. If the hotels are finished, I'll go and live in my sister's house. You get the picture. So Imo State is my place. And if you see me walking around here randomly, just accept me as I am. Because, you know, I can fly in for that ofe salad that I ate yesterday at any time. Just to ensure that you know that we are one and together in the state. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have what you would call a rash of recognitions, which I would make before I invite the next item on the agenda. I know that everybody is very distinguished. I have lots of my brothers and friends here, and I would not want to hurt anybody. So first, I would like to ask us to give a round of applause to everybody in the front row. All those in the front row are very special to us. And because they are very special to us, we're delighted that they could make it and that they are here with us. I had mentioned much earlier that we have in our midst the former Deputy Governor of Imo State, my brother and my senior brother, Professor Placide John. Please let's give him a round of applause. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the former Executive Secretary of Nigeria Content is here. He's on our panel. Chief Marpan is here with us. We appreciate you. We thank you for being here with us and for making the time to join. And when he comes on the panel to discuss, you will see what we're talking about. I'd like to welcome and greet somebody all the way from my brother state, His Excellency Dr. Alex Oti. He has sent to us Reverend Dr. Anne Onu, Executive Secretary at the State Diaspora Commission. She's here in the room with us. Please let us celebrate her. I would like very quickly to celebrate my brother, Chief Executive of this, Chief Executive of that, Mazi Sam. We welcome you, sir. It's great to see you. Mr. Ebere Young has the list of other distinguished personalities here, and he will be bringing that up to speed any moment time. Please permit me to welcome to the podium my brother and friend, Mr. Vincent, who will do the honors to bring the first panel to the table. What I did was to keep the room warm and to welcome all our very special guests, especially those who have come from outside Nigeria. We celebrate all our panelists, we celebrate all our speakers, we celebrate all our moderators, and we celebrate Imo State indigenes and those who form the government of Imo State at this point. Yesterday I saw the Imo State Commissioner, other commissioners are here. Yesterday the acting chief judge was here, and we had a battery of governors in the room. Only one man, of course, can bring them all together. Vincent?
Thank you. Please a round of applause for Ms. Eugenia Abu, veteran ace broadcaster. I know many of us grew up watching her on NTA. Before we start, can we just look to the next person and just say good morning and welcome to day 2? Fantastic. Let me join my voice in saying good morning, welcome to day 2. And today promises to be exciting. The committee has put together a stellar group of people that are going to provide insights with respect to Imo State. It's my pleasure to say that we are moving on now to the very first panel, where we'll be talking on tourism and economic catalyst, culture, heritage, and destination investments. I would like to call on our moderator for this session. She is a pioneering figure in African music and a successful entrepreneur in the fashion and creative industries. Many of us grew up knowing her as Sasha P. She has used her influence to inspire young women, champion innovation, and expand the frontiers of the Nigerian creative economy. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mrs. Antonia Y. Alabi, popularly known as Sasha P. We invite her to the podium. Please put your hands together as she comes up stage, and she will be moderating this session today. The next person I'll be inviting to the stage needs no introduction, as his reputation precedes him. He's a distinguished engineer and one of the most influential voices in the Nigerian energy and industrial landscape. He is the pioneer executive secretary and CEO of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, where he laid the foundation for today's landmark achievements in indigenous participation in the oil and gas sector. He's recognized internationally for his strong advocacy for local content development and championing policies that have transformed opportunities for Nigerian businesses, professionals, and communities. He's also the former Pro-Chancellor of Imo State University, the founder and CEO of Crystal Lake Resort. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Dr. N.S.C. Waba as he takes the stage. Round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time to be with us today. We understand you have a very busy schedule, and we appreciate you being here. We can do better. Round of applause, please, as Dr. Waba takes the stage. Thank you so much. Our next panelist is a creative force in Nigeria's art and luxury space. She's the founder and creative director of Kenwa Gallery and Cinema Lagos, where she's redefining contemporary design, artistic expression, and premium retail experiences. My work highlights the economic power of creativity and culture. A round of applause for Mrs. Ubona Ibeojo. A round of applause for her. She comes from please. I understand that other panelists will soon be with us. Mr. Obi Kubana, as well as Bupi and Komolafe. And once they're here, they will join them. Sasha, over to you.
Okay, we're on now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us. All protocols observed, and as we wait for the other panelists, we're gonna just get right into it. Imo State is uniquely positioned with rich cultural heritage, natural assets like Oguta Lake, the Mbari Cultural Center Corridor, vibrant nightlife, and a fast-growing hospitality ecosystem. Yet, the state still faces gaps: destination branding, infrastructure, signage, safety systems, hospitality standards, digital visibility, and access to financing for creative enterprise. And so the panelists joining me today are going to be helping us walk through the infrastructure, the development, and what we essentially need to make Imo State a destination tourist attraction. So without further ado, Dr. Ennis, I'll be starting with you, sir.
Thank you, Sasha. And let me use this opportunity to welcome all the participants to today's session. Most of us were here yesterday, and a lot of ground were made here yesterday. We are happy to have such a vibrant and visionary governor in the person of His Excellency, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma. The firepower, intellectual, political, and social that attended this session yesterday was amazing and unprecedented. So I'm very happy for the opportunity to share some thoughts on this global platform. The keynote presented by His Excellency yesterday articulated his vision in his usual way, and it generally took us through the roadmap and the steps already taken to realize the expected outcomes. A very, very audacious vision, and as you could see from his presentation yesterday, a lot of steps have already been taken. What we need to do is then to build on his leadership, to get Imo State mobilized behind this initiative. What the governor has started is exactly how many of the thriving jurisdictions started. And we go to Lagos today and we see a totally different country from Nigeria. And it's not magic, it's just the vision of leadership and how the citizens followed the leadership. So 3 key milestones have already been highlighted. One is the Orashi Special Energy Free Trade Zone. The second one is the power project, Orashi Power Project. And the third one is something you don't see or feel, but something that has been going on, as many of us who are involved and part of the whole ecosystem in Imo State can testify to, the digital economy framework. It's so important that these 3 steps have been taken because they represent a major shift in the traditional approach of successive governments when they are relating with the oil and gas industry. I talk about the oil and gas industry in this session because that's actually where I've been since I graduated 40-something years ago. Now, the traditional focus of government relationship with the oil and gas industry over the past decades will be like, oh, how can we get more for ISOPADEC? How can we get NDDC to do more for our state? Sign GMOUs with oil companies, get the IOCs to do community development, all things around CSR. And the discussions were centered around development projects, employment of our youths, quota, homage, and such ordinary handouts. But as you know, Ohaji Egbema Oguta has been on the petroleum map for as long as many of us here have been alive. You know, and I've spent over 48 years in the oil and gas industry. So anyone that has been in that industry knows about that free zone area, the importance of Ohaji Egbema Oguta in the gas footprint of Nigeria. Yet the sustainable impact of these activities in this area or in the state has been elusive for over 5 decades. Now, we have mentioned Oguta Ohaji Egbema severally for petrochemicals, for LNG, for fertilizer, but none of them came to pass. Why? Because there was no strong government lobby to bring these things to happen. So if recent developments by Seplat, ANOGAS, Walter Smith, NCDMB, Renaissance and Sterling have introduced exciting dynamics to our catchment, the strategic move being made now by our governor presents a transformative shift that literally connects Imo State to the vibrant segment of the energy corridor stretching from rivers through Bayelsa and Delta. We are all oil producing states, 9 of us. We all belong to NDDC. We all get the revenue allocation things. But in Imo State, the actual dynamics of the oil industry have eluded us. I can tell you about the gas master plan infrastructure, passes through all the states, just comes into Imo State to take gas from Imo State, but the major infrastructure is not in Imo State. That story is the same for all the different major life activities in the oil and gas industry. But that has changed now. I can tell you, in my former life as the ES of NCDMB, I was frequently consulted by investors, vendors, and OEMs. OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, who needed advice on location of their facilities to comply with the local content law. Naturally, I referred them to Imo State, and I referred them to Ohaji Egbema, because genuinely, that is a key location that you should actually locate your facilities in Nigeria. But they always came back to tell me that they are choosing alternative locations because they didn't see any incentives. Imo could not compete for these investments, but this has changed. This has all changed because of these new developments. I can tell you very quickly, Margarita, you're looking at me like you want me to stop?
Not stop. I just had a specific question with regards to tourism, but everything you're sharing is informative, and that's why I'm not interrupting you.
Okay,
please go ahead.
You see, this is the background that you can use for the tourism thing. I think that it's important to get this through and then set it. So, the implications of being connected to the energy corridor is great. And it's the foundation for any of the linkages you're trying to discuss with tourism, right? So it's important that we grasp it, imbibe it, and go for it. And any citizen of Imo State that is here should pay attention. The opportunities that this simple step will unlock are boundless. So So I want to say that it will diversify the value chain downstream and midstream. You would now begin to see investors saying, should I go to Onne free trade zone? What are the advantages in Onne? Or should I go to Orashi? Before, that choice wasn't there. It's being created now. The free trade zone is right in the corridor to the airport. There's Nurashi River, there's Uguta Lake, there are developments around those things, and just to make you happy, tourism will flow into those features. Now, the opportunities that come from these investments, you cannot overemphasize them, because starting with employment. When governments tell you we're employing this number of people, a lot of those employments are just budget provisions. The work we give to these people from budget provisions is just to go to the office. But here, you're going to see productive employment. When people go out to a free trade zone, to industrial complexes, the employment is employment that drives knowledge, drives productivity, and drives growth, national economic growth. So we want to focus on such things as outfalls from these things that we are presenting today. A strong supply chain anchored in Imo State, anchored around the free trade zone, taking advantage of all those advantages that are listed in the brochures is what we'll be looking for. I want to say that the Onne Free Trade Zone started like a very small facility, just to let people know that this vision is real. Anybody who went to Onne when it was Nicotes was just like an ordinary company. But because of the policy of government to create the free trade zone there, Onne became like an industrial complex. $1 billion, $1 trillion industrial complex. Lekki Free Trade Zone is less than 20 years old, maybe 15. Today, Dangote Refinery, the world's biggest refinery, is there. There is no other reason why Dangote Refinery is in Lekki other than the fact that there's a free trade zone there. So we should be looking at the free trade zone in Orashi as something for the future and near future, not even far. Another key example is Lador. Lador Free Trade Zone was just signed by 2010. By 2014, because it was given a free trade status, Samsung built a $500 million facility there, where the first integration of an FPSO was built. And then one of our sons, Engineer Charles Ngoka, was in charge of that project when he was in Total. So these things are real, but it won't work if the governor is making those policies and struggling alone and our business people are not keying in. So this is a call for our business community to join the government in this move. Okay. By taking that step, by taking that singular step of going after a free trade zone, the governor and his government have committed the Imo State government to development of that zone. Because if you just call it, please, we need some clapping here. Thank you, Excellency. But the governor has unwittingly or wittingly committed his team to continue to work there, because if you have a free trade zone and you don't put power, you don't put roads, you don't put water, you don't build industrial complexes, it ceases to be a free trade zone. Therefore, we have to support that move, knowing that it's going to bring us positive results, not just for people from that catchment area, but for the whole state and even beyond. But without mobilization of the people, that free trade zone will not be very, very successful. I'll just tell you a story. One of the governors in the Delta, where I worked, had a visit by his youths, and they were complaining that he cut off the monthly stipends that government used to give to youths, and they used to call it empowerment. He ran on the promise that he was going to turn his state to a construction site. That every time you go to any part of his state, you are going to see construction. Unfortunately, when he became governor, he awarded contracts, and there were contracts in every local government. Every local government has contracts. So he visited one of the sites and addressed the workers. He spoke in their natural language, and nobody understood what he was saying. So what had happened? He had created construction sites around the state, but his youths, his people were not working. Two problems: no skills prepared. So if you bring construction and construction companies come and there are no skilled people, they will take skilled people from other places.
Yeah.
The second thing is that the youths were not mobilized. They didn't understand what was going on. So they were interested more in the empowerment programs. Therefore, there is work for the team of His Excellency to mobilize his people. My experience in NCDB as an organization is that policy can be very effective. I'm rounding up. I visited NLNG last week. When NLNG was being created, people said if Nigerians start handling it, it's going to crash. Nigerians have been handling it as managing director, deputy managing director for more than 10 years. Everywhere in the world, NLNG model is referred to as a successful model. Therefore, we need to look at examples like that. The Seplat example, Seplat that took over from Shell and increased production. Nigerians that have run Walter Smith is over there. There are examples of Nigerians doing well. It starts from the leadership of the government. So when we hear Governor Hope Uzodimma saying this is possible, we have to believe. We have to work with him, because at the end of the day, when we start seeing success, it doesn't come in 1 year or 2 years, but it's got to be treated in such a way that even the next government will build on what this government has started. So in closing, let me say that Imo is already poised for this progress. I heard the governor say Imo has risen, but there's still space above to soar higher. The digital economy that has formed the foundation of this activity is very, very important. Scaling up our youth is very key, because it's one of the things that people who want to invest in the free zone. Yeah. Can we get labor? Can we get skilled labor in that catchment? So if there's time for us to be working towards that, we have to expose the youth to AR, skewed towards manufacturing and logistics. We have to organize sensitization sessions between the contractors, the vendors that are already operating in Imo State, so that they are all prepared. But in the final analysis, we have to anticipate the new market that is going to overrun us in Imo State here. I'm not just being optimistic. This is realistic. I've seen it happen in my own working life. Things that were never contemplated, Nigerians being in charge of multi-billion-dollar projects and doing it well. So this new state movement is something that I am very happy about, and I believe that every son and daughter of Imo State should support it and work with the governor and his team to make it a reality. Thank you for giving me all this time.
Thank you for that riveting setting the framework, and I think it actually is fantastic, because I was going to ask you, as a specialist in cultural asset development, my question to you, and that's why I like the fact that you laid the framework of what actually exists right now. My question to you would be, there are many cultural sites in Imo State that lack structural management systems. What sustainable frameworks should the state build in order to support that? What should be the first action?
Okay, a few years ago, if you asked me this question, you would have confused me completely. But luckily, when I left office, I decided to go into community service. And one of the things we did is to set up a resort in Uguta. Uguta was recognized by the Eastern Nigerian government as a center for culture, tourism. So the cultural week activities used to be held on Uguta Lake. Imo State as a state is a culturally advanced state. And that is why Owerri used to have an influx of people from all over the country and even outside to enjoy our culture. It's the people. It's the people. So to have a structured framework is something that needs to be done. I am proprietor. We are talking amongst ourselves, how do we develop tourism outside just going to sleep on a hotel bed? The tourism is supposed to be something that you build an infrastructure where people say, I'm going to Imo State, I'm going to look at this artifact, I'm going to look at this activity. There are cultural festivals, there's a cultural calendar. This is what we are working with as a group of hotel proprietors, and we are interested in giving government the ideas that will help them build the structure you're talking about.
Yeah, so from your perspective, what would be the first thing to build on your wish list? What's the first thing?
On my wish list is sustain this security infrastructure that is in place. Let's reduce the negative news, right? We have an airport. Yes. You see, we have natural resources. There are, I can tell you, there are many historical places that we can go to. There are palaces of traditional rulers. There are deposits, geological deposits. There are artifacts here and there. There are vestiges of colonial rule. There are trading outposts here and there. We have so many things. I have a catalog where I want to take tourists to, but the first thing the tourists ask for is it safe? Is it accessible? So when we come out now and we see that the road to Uguta, for instance, from the airport, you are driving on nylon tar. You are not stepping off the road till you get to my hotel. Who built that road? For me, it's Governor Oguzodinma. Do you understand? I can tell you, somebody who applies to the Owerri Onitsha Road, there was a spot in Nwidi that during the rainy season, you could not pass through. For many years, that problem, they will resurface it and it will come back again the next year. Governor Oguzodinma has fixed that road in such a way that it can never spoil again. So I don't work for the government, so I feel free to say these things without fear. So these are the things that tourists want to see. Tourists want to be able to plan. If I come to Owerri, I get picked up from the airport, they take me to Owerri, I have my Owerri. I go to some nightclub, I dance Egwu Jigida, I then go to Uguta, I eat my fresh fish, I go on the lake, I see the confluence of Orashi and Owide. You know, to talk about Orashi, and I'm going to tell the governor this straight up. Orashi doesn't stand alone. Uguta Lake and the Orashi River are married. I know you don't know that.
I do.
Now, Uguta Lake is called Owide. Orashi is Orashi. Orashi and Owide are husband and wife. So making Orashi power plant without saying Uguta Orashi is like you are dividing a marriage. Yeah. So on a serious note, there are so many things that the tourists want to see, and a lot of them are already being done.
Thank you so much for that. Ugonna, I hope you're not feeling lonely over there. I'm coming to you. So you have a very specific eye. As a leader in the visual arts, it's not just enough to draw people in. So now we fixed safety and people want to come to Imo State. I'd like to know from your visual arts perspective, what key investments or structures are required for Imo to position itself as a hub for contemporary visual arts?
Thank you for that question. First of all, I do want to say thank you to the Imo State government for inviting me to this panel. I think it's also very visionary to have a cultural worker, a gallerist, a visual arts professional as part of this economic summit. We are an industry that is usually overlooked in moments like this. So I think that is testament to how serious and visionary the Imo State government is. And I do want to commend them. And as a daughter of Imo State from Owerri North, I feel very honored to be here amongst you. Good afternoon. So thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you, Dr. Anas, for also laying that foundation, because it did give me some background information that I didn't have. And obviously being here yesterday, watching some of the informationals that were showing on the screen, it was very exciting to see what the digital city is doing and seeing the partnership with the University of California. This is the sorts of things that the visual arts and media and storytelling allow people to see into the state and get excited about what's going on in the state. And most times, if you get your storytelling right, if you get your packaging right, it actually supersedes the negative news that you hear. There is insecurity everywhere. There are a lot of cities that are very dangerous, and you know that, you hear it. I do a lot of work in South Africa. Johannesburg is not the safest place, but they have staple events that draw people in, and they have a structure around that. And I think it's because they've done a really good job of promoting what they're doing there. So within the visual arts, storytelling and writing, it's important to package what we're doing here, to encourage people to come into Imo State and see the talents that there is. I want to talk about the power and the powerhouse that the creative economy is. You know, we talk about art in such a soft language sometimes that we forget how much money it draws to economies around the world. When you travel anywhere, when you go to London, people are going to the museums. When you're going to see the London Eye, you're going to Paris to see the monuments, you're going to Lagos to see Nike Art Gallery. You know, people are now going, there's the museum coming up in Benin. Once upon a time, the Calabar Festival was a big draw. So what is the draw? What is bringing people to Imo State? And there might, of course there are things, there's Oguta Lake, there are monuments here, but who knows about them? What are we doing to communicate what we're doing here? And how are we preserving our heritage? How are we making money from our heritage? The Mbari system is the foundation of the modern art system that we have today. And I mean that globally, I don't mean Nigeria. All around the world, scholars are studying the Mbari Owerri system, which means that we have always been advanced. Our indigenous knowledge has always been technology. Technology is not new to us, but you have other people telling a better story, using our stories, making money for their economies. How are we being strategic about that? Where are the documentaries about Oguta Lake? Where are the documentaries about the work that we're doing here? Where are the programs that are still modeled off the Mbari system, which was a creative ecosystem, where you're housing the artists, the writers? If we commission artists to create work about Oguta Lake, to create work about other monuments in the state, that's how, and then you share that, right? That's how people know. There is an identity of Lagos. Why do we know that? There's the yellow bus. Because we've seen it. We've seen it in film. We've seen it in paintings. And I was having a conversation yesterday morning with the journalist, and I asked him, before you saw a lot more yellow buses in Nigerian art, but you don't see them anymore. And why is that? Because you don't see yellow buses in real life. Art imitates life. Art is a documentary of life. Yeah. This is how in 20 years, when you come back, if you want to know what Imo State looks like, you should see the art, you should see the museum, you should say in 2025, this is what the people were discussing. I used to be the director of the Guild of Professional Fine Artists of Nigeria. So I can tell the different regions the artists are from. The artists from the South are talking about oil spills through the art. I visited an artist in Kaduna 2 years ago, a very established artist, and so I went to his studio and it allowed me to see his work from when he had just finished school, 1970s or so, and now in 2023 at the time. And I saw that his art had not really changed. To a normal person, you'll say, oh, he paints the same thing over and over again. But actually, that was him documenting history, showing that Kaduna is at a standstill. They're still discussing the same things, they're still going through the same issues in Kaduna, that's what it's saying. But if you go to a different region and you see that the art is changing, it's telling you that in 1980s, this is what the city looks like. How are we documenting? Well, we don't want to lose our identity. If it's not written and documented anywhere, there's that. But when you also think about the ecosystem, it's not just the artist, it's the carpenter who's building the frame, it's the painter who's painting the gallery, it is the person who's stretching the work, it's the admin, it's the technology component of it. There's so many jobs that can be created through this visual arts. There's so many direct and indirect impacts on the economy. So I think that, of course, security is definitely the biggest draw, even for the practitioners themselves. Even for me as a daughter of Imo State, I want to know that I'm safe here to conduct the work that I do, and also encourage people to come with me, to come back to my state.
Thank you for that. Our time is fast spent, so based on everything that you both discussed, I'd just like to put it to both of you, ask you a question. What is one opportunity you believe Imo State must prioritize immediately in tourism, culture, or creative enterprise development? A word for the future.
I think for me, it would be two things. One, it would be documentaries, honestly. So I think that there is a lot of infrastructure being built, there's a lot that's happening. I haven't been to Crystal Lake. So how are we documenting that? I think there are some funds for artists, for filmmakers to go around and show us Imo State and show us the work that we're doing. That there is a partnership between Owerri and the University of California, Berkeley is a very big deal. I didn't know any of this. It's a very big deal. And to come here and find out about it, and I'm like, who knows? There's a lot going on in Imo State, who knows? So where are these small and larger documentaries going into the different subsets of the state, letting us know that way you encourage people to join hands, to bring more money, to bring more expertise into the space. So I think that is one step, but I think also empowering the creators. I think that Nigerians are very creative, no matter the job that they're in, they bring their creative flair into those industries. So how are we funding young artists to also document, to also to do the documentaries, do the paintings, you know. When you think about, when you watch film, we know so much about America because of their film, because of the visual arts. When you watch any movie and they've stolen something from the museum, it's the Mona Lisa. But no one, how many of us went to art school to learn what the Mona Lisa was?
Basically cultural tourism.
Cultural, we need to export, right? And the way to do that is just even document what is being done already. It doesn't even have to be a big new investment. I'm so excited to find out what's going on where, but we need to talk about it.
Thank you for that. Your own take.
Yeah, I would just completely subscribe to what she said. The only thing I would add is that government needs to work closely with that industry and curate some of these things she's talked about. Get it out, put the government backing on it so that the private sector moves with the government towards getting some documentary, something, maybe even an institutionalized arrangement where people can log into Imo tourism and see the elements, see what there is in Imo State. And I think it's a quick win that can be achieved very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We were supposed to have some panelists speaking to the tone of entertainment and policy making, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to join us today. However, I'd like to say a huge thank you to our two panelists for making it and everyone who has shared insights with regards to this topic. The session has highlighted clear priorities for Imo, building a coherent statewide tourism roadmap, strengthening security, strengthening cultural export, and developing and enhancing digital visibility. Your contributions today help shape the next phase of Imo and tourism, the creative economy. So we'd like to say a huge thank you, and thank you to the organizers of the summit for having us as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please one more time a big round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Amazing job session, you did very well. It's been a while. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, they did justice to tourism as an economic catalyst. For me, in the creative industry, I know based on personal experience that Imo has the highest number of A-list celebrities in Nollywood. And talking about tourism and the creative industry, it's a marriage that cannot be separated. If we leverage our advantage in that sector, I mean talking about Nollywood, a lot can be done in tourism. I and my colleagues have been working on so many different things, and I'm sure there has been an adjustment. Fortunately, I have not gone ahead. But permit me to first of all recognize our Deputy Governor who's just joined us. Please, a round of applause for Her Excellency Lady Chinyere Irome Komaru, our own beloved Deputy Governor, who always has the support of a handsome husband, His Excellency Chief Sir Chukwume Komaru, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. You're welcome, Your Excellency. You're welcome. Permit me to quickly recognize Right Honorable Ahmed Idris Wase, the former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives. You're welcome. Our own senator, the senator representing my own constituency, Senator Ezemo Yochi. I see you there. The former Secretary General of Hanese Ndibo, my in-law, Ambassador Kemuche, you're welcome. Always present. Nzeusu Chukwuchukwu, one of our leaders, also with our Hanese. I salute you, sir. How can I forget? I made that error yesterday, I will not forget. This uncle of mine is a leading figure in the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. And I'm sure you all know him, Master Dr. Sam Owabu. I salute you, sir. I salute you, sir. You're welcome, sir. We'll continue to recognize people as we make progress. I just want to make it snappy. I stick him on the recognition list because he's the man that I'm about to bring on now to give us his keynote address. It's a man that this country values so much because he's our own version of Bill Gates in Nigeria. He's the Nigerian godfather of tech in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, and we are happy to have him as a son of Imo State. He's here today. Please a big round of applause as I welcome the founder and chairman of the Xenos Group of Companies. Yes, and of course, Konga. Please a big round of applause for Dr. Leo Stanley as he comes forward to talk to us this morning. Welcome, sir. I always admire his style. Let me add that too.
Your Excellencies, the Deputy Governor of Imo State, the senators, distinguished senators, and the politicians here. Let me observe protocol. Mine is very simple. I want to say I'm excited to come from this state, and this was reaffirmed yesterday. I think God had a purpose bringing most of us from this state, but I don't think we realize it. Okay, just said Imo has produced the largest number of Nollywood superstars. And when you look at where we are coming from, we can only thank God that we are still there. For those doubting Thomases, a lot of us believe in this state, and I support the governor of Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodimma, 100%. Only fools don't support their own. You can't support foreigners and you abandon yours, even where their mistakes were corrected. Now mine, I'm in a digital world, and that's the new economy. Okay, I'm from Imo State, my father from Imo State, my mother from Imo State, my wife from Imo State. So I'm a big stakeholder, and that's why I'm the largest employer of civilized Imo people in this country. And I believe God had a purpose also bringing me from here. Like I said, I'm from Owerri. My wife is from Olo. I was born in Okigwe. So it is a very clear description that I have to be faithful and sincere to this country, to this state, and then the country by extension. So we need to support our own. The governor might not make a lot of noise about what he's doing. When he came in, I told him, I said, the greatest thing you give people is knowledge. People who are well educated, well informed, are global citizens. And he listened and set up the biggest investment, as far as I'm concerned, in Imo State, which I call the Knowledge City, where Dr. Amadi, the Commissioner for Information Technology, is in charge. You might not rate the economy. If you rate the value of those people he has produced, you now know the power of this economy. But they just need a little bit more of incubation period. So I just want to tell all of you, because technology is coming up live. If you have 2 children, put one in technology. It has nothing to do with computer science. Technology comes with humility, but it comes with big money. Money only you can mention to the society. They don't know how you made it. So if you have 2 children as an Igbo man, as a Nigerian, put one in technology. He's a global citizen. If God wants to bless your family, He must bless you with technology. Nothing else. It's not construction, it's not farming. Technology money is big money. Now, coming from this poor state, people say, but I built the biggest technology company in the continent. It's not argue. Technology is not argue. It's either you are right or you are wrong. And I built 360 degrees. But I didn't read computer science. I was discouraged in Cork City University from reading computer science, that Africa will not see computer in 30 years, commercially. That makes sense. But the truth is that I've done the biggest project in the continent, and I'm still doing them. And in technology, you don't need a godfather. If you're a global citizen, you don't need a godfather. They will need you when they need you, and they will pay you the right fee at the right time. So I just want to appeal to you, building large houses, 20-story building is reserved. Push your kids. I'm not saying they must read computer science. I have about 233 coders. Only 14% read computer science. And they are whiz kids. This is why I came here. That things have changed. There's a new economy, new money. and 90% sits with technology. I don't want to waste your time. I just want to first of all appreciate my governor for taking the pain to put this together. And I was very proud. Imo people turned out the traditional people, the reverend priest. I was touched that the Pombi comes from this state. And I thank Adiko for popping in. So today, I'm sure I have some investors here. The biggest investment is in knowledge. We need to put our schools right. And to commit to this state, because if God has given you and brought you from a state, you must give to that state. You must return and give to that state, no matter who you are. And I'll continue to invest in this state. In the last 11 years, we took a book count. I put 2 billion every year, but last year I put more. 2026, I'm going to put 5 billion in educational institutions. When I left here yesterday, my state cannot be second class. When I left here yesterday, I went to inspect Holy Ghost College, the building I'm doing. That center in Holy Ghost College will be the biggest modern AI learning center in the whole of Southeast. And I must commission it before the end of February. So I'm pleading with you that vehicles are no more show of wealth. Big buildings are not show of wealth. Sustenance is critical. So give your children the best education. Even if you don't know what to do in a school, you need to encourage them to open their minds to the big picture. Amadi has the capacity to speak everything I want to speak. But spiritually and with the governor of the Imo State, spiritually and with the people of the Imo State, even yesterday while I was driving from the airport, I said, can I get some accountants? Can I get some auditors? Can I get smart people? I'm training people. I have a center in Imo State University producing 200 entrepreneurs every 3 months. Okay? Supporting them. But we need to do more. If you're a rich man, you are not contributing to this state where you'll be buried. You are not a purposeful person. Okay? So if you have those brilliant kids, and I'll give you an example, this digital center, I told them from next vacation, I pick children from poor families who made came to first to top positions. Every holiday, because during the holiday the school is vacant, all the secondary schools are vacant. They have a hostel. I bring the best. What I want to produce in Imo State are people who will replace Geostan. So I keep them there. I'm bringing partners from abroad. I brought Microsoft to Nigeria. I brought Elon Musk to Africa. I brought HP to Nigeria. I brought Lenovo to Nigeria. So we have capacity, but we need a decent environment. Stop fighting, blackmailing for 20,000, 50,000, 5 million, when the bigger picture is there. Okay? So I'm not here, can't commit spiritually. I'm not a politician and I would never play politics. I've chosen my part. Okay? And for whatever you do for Imo State, government will bless your family, your children, because you must sow a seed. When they are giving donation in Lagos, in Abuja, everywhere, remember Imo State and support the government. Don't debrand this state. If you have problem with the governor, call the governor. It's accessible. And chat with him. But don't debrand the state. Things have changed in Nigeria. Nigeria is being driven by knowledgeable people. No more doubt. So we must consciously like the governor is doing, the next 10 years, build people who can defend their wealth anywhere. A lot of billionaires can't defend their wealth in Africa. So this is why I just came. I'm excited to come from this state. Frankly, anytime I'm landing Imo State Airport, my blood pressure comes down. And I start looking for corn or pear. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find this time. Okay, so if you come from such a state, what are you looking for? Money is a right in 21st century. Call their children, talk to them, but they must come with humility. Any arrogant person who says he has money doesn't have money. Every rich man is humble. So I really want to appreciate you. I continue to pray for you. When the Archbishop showed me the cathedral, it was in our cathedral. Now it looks like the one in Basilica. Isn't it? Have you gone there? God planted this place before the war, and it wasn't shut down, it wasn't brought down, it didn't scratch. Go in there and pray tomorrow Sunday. Next tomorrow Sunday. You will see God from a different perception. So there are miracles in this state. As brilliant boy, AKG, you have one of the best global boys out of this state. I experienced your boy. Is that part of AKG? Yes. So if you have those children who are bright, please, everybody has my phone number. I don't hide it. Because when they come in the village, I answer them. Okay. If you have brilliant kids, mostly those from poor homes, please send them to me. Send me a WhatsApp. Send me. I will help direct them. We need to build the next set of billionaires out of this state. So I really want to thank you, the organizers. You are wonderful. I know the experience you've gone through in the last one week. Okay, but God will continue to bless you for staying faithful to this state. Okay, and count on people like us to intervene. But like I said, I'm not a politician. Okay, I come in with a whole lot of spirituality. Every man has common sense. In 21st century, if you have common sense and add technology, you are a global citizen. God bless you. Thank you very much.
It deserves a big round of applause. If you want to clap, you clap. Yes. As a man in whom I'm well pleased. Do something in tech. Tech is the future. Big money in tech. He has given us all the expo that we need. Do something. There's nothing like Egombute. Ogwego is not working. If it's working, native doctors will be the richest. Do tech. It can't be said enough. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, I know so many prominent Imo sons are seated here. Permit me to quickly recognize the Speaker, Imo State House of Assembly. He's been here, he was here yesterday, he's here today, always supporting. Please help me put a big round of applause for Right Honorable Chico Lembe. You and other members of the House of Assembly here present, we appreciate you. It's difficult for us sometimes as masters of ceremonies to stand here and be able to recognize everyone in the audience, especially when we don't have a list written for us. So we are trying to piece together now with the assistance of the people from the protocol so that we can properly recognize people. I feel bad sometimes. You know, some of us are also aging. It's even difficult in our own house to remember our children in the order they were born. So when we come here, it's a bit tough. I also cited our former Deputy Governor, Professor Placid Njoku, who plays a big round of applause. He's been seated here. I'll catch the ones that I see. The Chairman, Imo State Council of Elders, His Royal Majesty is the CIA Lumanya. You're welcome, sir. Sitting next to him is Odebube. I need to put these names together so that we'll do a proper recognition. I also know that seated somewhere is the member representing Owerri Federal Constituency, Honorable Santo Chukwu Okere. You're recognized. We have so many commissioners. I also cited the Secretary to the State Government. Imagine, Chief Iwu. He's been the one running the ship. If you see that things are moving, he's been doing a great job. Chief Cosmos Iwu, I salute you, sir. I salute you, sir, for the good job you're doing with His Excellency in the state. We'll continue to recognize people. Please, protocol people, put together a list for us there so that when we come up here, it's easy for us. A little birdie just whispered that His Excellency will be joining us shortly. I was going to introduce the next keynote speaker, but I will take just a brief musical break. Hopefully, in the next 3 minutes, they will be performing. That will give us enough time to confirm his arrival. When he's seated here, we'll take that next keynote speaker. We don't want that speech to be interrupted by his arrival. But once we have all this confirmed, I'll be back up here again to continue transmission. So we'll take the musical break now and I'll be up here again. Onyame, let's go.